I've just downloaded and installed Firmware 1.1.1 for the Canon EOS R5 Mark II, and while I experienced the same problems with large capacity cards as I did with Firmware 1.1.0, I believe I finally worked out what's going on. And what exactly were the issues? And why is Canon struggling with this when the original R5 handles larger capacity cards without choking? Before we dive in, please punch that subscribe button. Your support generally helps us and means an awful lot to us. Hi, I'm Simon, your curious lens jockey who wades through the rumor mill and firmware chaos so that you don't have to. Today's story starts a little bit grim, but I promise you, you're going to like how it ends. And yes, installing yet another Canon firmware update on Friday night is my idea of fun. Now the rest of you should probably get out and, well, enjoy. I first tested large capacity CF Express cards last weekend using Firmware 1.1.0. After the update, autofocus was snappy and reliable, and my usual photo and video functions worked flawlessly. Once I confirmed that my regular workflow was stable, I moved on to testing large capacity CF Express cards. I inserted an Angelbird AV Pro 4TB CF Express V V3 card. The R5 Mark II officially supports V3 cards, but V4 cards are backwards compatible, so compatibility shouldn't be an issue. However, the moment I inserted the card, the R5 Mark II's card activity light went solid red for a second. Then the camera froze and became completely unresponsive. That set the stage for today's test with Firmware 1.1.1. But first, we have to get it installed. Firmware 1.1.1 installed at about the same time as 1.1.0, just around 10 minutes, with the first few percent creeping along like a pensioner on an icy footpath, before speeding up towards the end. Once installed, the camera booted normally. My password settings from 1.1.0 carried over without an issue. I then inserted the Angelbird 4TB V3 CF Express card. It's formatted exFAT. It's the only card in the camera. And once again, the R5 Mark II became unresponsive.
Really?
The only thing that actually triggered any response from the camera was opening up the card bay door. I heard what sounded like the shutter closing, as if the camera sighed in relief.
I release you.
Oh. Thankfully, the camera wasn't bricked. Simply popping out the batteries, and in my case it's with the battery grip and 2 batteries, as well as the card from the card slot, and the camera was restored to full working order. Rather like a teenager with 12 hours of sleep and 8 bowls of cereal, and 2 steaks and whatever else they could get out of the fridge. So, what's happening here? Well, there are likely 3 culprits. 1, firmware error trapping. The R5 Mark II could be caught in an endless loop, expecting data from the card that simply isn't there, or handshaking that didn't go well. Number 2, the card itself. The Angelbird AV Pro 4TB V3 card may have unexpected data in its partition table that's confusing the camera. And I actually have seen this before with pre-production cards. And number 3, well, a combination of both. Which do you think it is? Well, here's my findings. This video is shot in Studio A with the original R5 running firmware 2.0.0. The R5 immediately displayed an error message prompting me to format the card if I wanted to use it in the camera. So I performed a low-level format and ended up with a 2 TB capacity. This is a known limitation of the R5 Mark I with firmware 2.0.0. I also recorded a brief clip as a simple I/O test, and everything worked flawlessly. This test is clear evidence that the card itself, the CF Express card, the 4 TB card, functions perfectly in yet another device. So, back to the R5 Mark II. Would the R5 Mark II be more responsive to this 4 TB card after being formatted with the R5 Mark I? I inserted the 4 TB card and the R5 Mark II recognized it immediately, granting me full access to all its functions. And the R5 Mark II? Well, it didn't become unresponsive, and this was certainly a positive change. This was the first time I got the 4 TB card in the R5 Mark II without it choking on me. Next step, I formatted the card inside the R5 Mark II. Could I unlock the full 4TB capacity without the R5 Mark II becoming unresponsive? Success! The R5 Mark II formatted the card properly without issue, giving me full capacity, and everything worked perfectly.
That was a hell of a thing.
So out of the three possibilities, well, it's not the last two, because the Angelbird AV Pro V3 CF Express card, 4TB, well, I accessed it on multiple card readers, formatted at both APFS and exFAT, with no issues. The R5 handled it fine. The issue lies squarely with how, well, the R5 Mark II handles card initialization. It's far more choosy about how a card is formatted than the original R5. And I've shared my findings with both Canon and Angelbird. It's been a busy week testing these firmware updates, but I can report 2 wins. Faster autofocus with full access to large capacity cards. Now, if you've experienced similar issues or other issues, let us know in the comments section down below. Tell us what the problem is and whether you were able to solve it or find a workaround, because these troubleshooting steps really help others that are going through these problems. A lot of the reviews talk about the firmware update coming out, where you can download it, what the new capabilities, enhancements, and bug fixes are, but they don't go into details about what issues or how they're resolved. Now, the first 3 firmware updates for the Canon EOS R5 Mark II are all about, well, frankly, fixing issues rather than introducing new capabilities, large capacity cards being, well, one of the exceptions. This firmware update, 1.1.0 and 1.1.1 together, provided us with an 18 additional enhancements or new capabilities. The first 3 updates of any system, camera, computer, are usually fixing problems that, well, quite frankly, should have been fixed when the camera was launched. Hopefully, we can start to get more enhancements in upcoming updates or upcoming firmware updates. And I know some in the video field keep telling me they want to see OpenGate and 4K fine up to 60 frames per second. Why? Well, the highest resolution of the R5 Mark II is 8K 60 frames per second. So if we downsample that to 4K, well, we should be able to do 4K up to 60 frames per second. We can't go past that. We can't go to 120. And that's why in the R5 Mark III, I would like to see it do 8K 120, not for the fact of recording in 8K 120, but to have more detailed 4K 120 frames per second. If you like this video, well, great, thank you. Drop me a comment down below, and if you didn't, tell me why. Also, I want to say a big thanks to those of you supporting this channel. This channel is viewer supported. If you are interested in purchasing camera gear from Adorama, B&H, Walmart, and Amazon.com, I've got links down below. I get anywhere from 2 to 5% back, and it really does help support this channel, keep the lights on, because to this date, I haven't found a sponsorship that, quite frankly, adds value to you, that provides something of, well, use. When I grew up, I loved computers. I subscribed to Compute Magazine, Amiga World, and I loved the ads because I got to see what cool stuff was available and on sale. Today we have the internet and we have YouTube. Now, if I could find a sponsor that was able to add value to you in watching, I would, but a lot of these inserted sponsorship ads, quite frankly, seem like the video's a vehicle for the advertisement. They started off as 30 seconds, then gone to 60 seconds, and in some of my favorite channels now, we have sponsorship ads up to 5 minutes. That's too much. So for those of you using my affiliate links, my product links down below, thank you so much. It's very much appreciated. Thank you so much for watching this video. Every time you watch, it's not taken for granted. It's very much appreciated. And for the let's say 45, 46% of you that are watching that aren't subscribed, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything, but honestly, it means so much to us. Thank you so much for watching. Have yourself a great weekend, and we'll see you again soon.